and then his little brother kind of like followed up, and they end up capturing these beings and getting them rounded up. Now they were goat herders. Keep in mind, this was a goat coming in. They were goat herders, right? These Hyksos. So when they rounded them up, these Moors, right? These are the Moors because they were the mound builders. The mound, I could debate anybody on it, that the Moors are the ones that built the pyramids, not the Olmecs. The Washita is the one that brought the pyramid style building, the Moors, because they were the ones that was doing, if you go back to the 200 fallen, they were the ones that were doing building these pyramids. And I can get into that's a long story, but the main thing I'm trying to point out is the storyline that they took to set up these killer clowns. And these killer clowns know this storyline, the potentate know it, about the Hyksos. When the Moors captured them, they duct taped them, well, not necessarily duct taped them, but they cable towed them. Right, they tied them, whether it was 1, 2, depends on how good they were. They tied them up to between 1 and 3 times with the cable tow around them, right? And they tied them all together, and then they rolled their pants like that. Because if you know anything about walking in sand, if you walk in sand, sand can get anywhere. It'll get in the crack of your ass. It'll get in your shoes, between your toes. I mean, anything when you get in sand, it'll be all over you. I'm telling you, some kind of way, the sand just get all over you, right? So they was gonna be walking across this hot sand, so they rolled their pants legs up, so that they can, so when they walk through the sand, it won't get weigh them down, so they can walk easier. And then they cable told them, and then they blindfold them. Now the reason for blindfold is because these Moors knew how to travel by the stars, right? And they didn't want these people to see where they was going. So what they did is they marched them in circles. Yep. Now quick, around the desert, in circles around the desert, and they do this when you go in the lodge. They walk you around in circles with a blindfold on, and the senior deacon, I think it is the one that's guiding you around to take you to the different brothers to do the different whatever, and then you go to the worshipful master and whatever they give you where you can take the oath or whatever, right? But okay, but I'm speaking up to these guys. Folded these Hyksos, table told them, roll their pants leg up, and march them across the desert, take them in circles because they didn't want them to see where they had came from, because they didn't know how these people were really they were just kind of like learning and getting on their feet as a human race. They really were savages and what we would call Gentiles, or heathens, Gohim, or all the terms that we was like these savages or whatever, right? That people that didn't keep the law, people that didn't follow the commandments or whatever. So we marched them in circles, marched them back to Caucasus Mountain, where they end up falling down low to where they were crawling on all fours. And that's for the 33 degrees, because 33 degrees really is still walking around like a dog. A man walks 90 degrees square. A man stands 90 degrees square, a man.
Yep.
If you walking at 3, you walking at the dog. And if you're 32, you froze, because that's what water freezes at 32 degrees.
Facts.
I mean, 32 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm going to speed it up because I'm going to ask you a question on this.
Okay.
I know you can go in. Now, after we put them in the caves, they was in the caves for a long time until the Moors came and got them out. But I really want to cover the Masonic part about the servitude. He got hit in the head 3 times and got buried on the east side, where they took him out there when these 3 ruffians killed him. They took him out and buried him, and they covered him with rocks. And they said they're gonna wait till a certain hour until everybody's gone, and they're gonna come back and get him. And they did come back and get him. Then they took him west and buried him in the shallow grave, and then they covered him and put like a certain type of symbol on the grave site to where it represented a certain thing. That's how they was able to find him later. And they actually, but what happens is Akhmos come back to the, now it was actually Akhmos first before he got killed. He come back to the temple. They had called him to the temple because he was a Grand Master as well. And they said that the Grand Master is missing. He's missing. He's been gone for so long. And he usually come and give us our layout before we start our building, whether we be fellow craft, inner apprentice, the master mason. So, but the worshipful master usually comes and gives them their orders every morning at the same time, right? And so when they called for Akhmos, he said, he's missing. So what they did is he sent out a search team you know what I'm saying, through the temples to look for them, and they couldn't find them in the temples. They signed another search team to go look for them in the east, to go look for them in the west, the south, and the north, right? I can't remember if they signed them north or not, because in some lodges they don't have a north room, like a north area. It's mostly just you enter through a certain side of the temple, where it's like I think it's the east or the no, it's not the
From
east.
the west to the
I think
far
you enter in the
east.
west, huh?
West to far east.
Yeah, you enter in the west, and then the east where the worshipful master sit, where the sun rise, right? They used to have a sun over his head or whatever with the chair. Yeah, so so tied into that, he got hit, and that's the real storyline. But the rituals of where they tie you in the cable toe and all that comes from the Hyksos teachings. That wasn't the original teachings. Matter of fact, if you go read the Holy Tablets, chapter 19, Baba actually go into some of the original Masonic rituals. And for the order of Melchizedek, he goes into how he had to sit in a room and he had to trust this guy and all that. That's the real rituals, not the rituals they giving people slave Hyksos dynasty rituals in the lodge. And then what makes me mad is that these brothers that Prince Halls and Johnny Jones and these different lodges that say they recognized by the Caucasian or what have you. They don't recognize a Moorish Master Mason or Egyptian Master Mason or African. Some of them represent they might accept the African depending on what lodge, if they lodge tied into that. But this is the thing this is the thing that killed me. When Prince Hals, which wasn't no damn Prince Hals, that's really Benjamin Banneker, right? When he set up the lodge, he didn't call it Prince Hals. He called it an African Lodge. And then he called it African Lodge number 459. That means it was 458 lodges before that. If Prince Hall, we'll just say Prince Hall, but we know it was Benjamin Banneker, for you niggas that try to play games, who had high level Masonic shit, because he laid out the DC shit, and that's all Masonic, right? We could get into it. And who they also created Benjamin Franklin to cover up all of his, because if you look up Benjamin Franklin, he had an almanac. He had built a clock. And then they say, oh, this black dude come years later, hundreds of years, they play these games. It wasn't no fucking Benjamin Franklin. They made that guy so they can steal Benjamin Banneker's credit, that he was the first black dude to do all this shit, right? Like on this side, right? So, but speeding up to what I'm saying is, if Prince Halls set up the first black lodge, then why was he calling it African Lodge 459? They still I ain't heard no Prince Halls respond to that. Why is he calling it African Lodge 459? If it's the first, and then they lie and say that, oh, some white guys in Boston gave him his check. They let him come to their lodge and get in and this and that as a military lodge, and and they go into all this whole lie and storyline. But the real truth is, it was already a Grand Lodge in Philadelphia. The lodge they took over was our lodge. They infiltrated that lodge. It was a Moorish Grand Lodge. And if you look at that building style on that building, and then you go look at the building in Timbuktu, you can clearly see the same people or the same architects or engineers designed that same tile building. It had to be the same people. The Grand Lodge in Timbuktu, which is the temple of Mansa Musa built, versus the Grand Lodge in Philadelphia. And it reminds me of why the fuck they got the Mamas Parade and all this shit going on, where they paint their face black and wear the fez and do they march by the George Washington Grand Lodge. So it's all a game. But like I was saying, African Lodge 459. Why ain't nobody mentioning it? Why ain't heard no Prince Hall say that? And they show you all this shit. Why they don't talk about Benjamin Banneker? You know what I'm saying? And why you don't recognize your brothers? Because how do you recognize a brother? That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you recognize a brother? You know what I'm saying? And they'll tell you,
In the darkness,
we got tokens,
well
right angles,
in the darkness as well as in the light. Yeah.
Yeah. And they go into that, right? You know the whole jargon. Because like I say, but so if that brother can present that, right? And the brother, if you question the brother and the brother able to give you all the answers to the literature, how could you tell if that a brother? They say, oh, we got to go look you up on some jurisdiction of the white guy and say your name ain't on. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
if your name ain't in his system, you're not recognized. You're not recognized by us, and we don't recognize that because I was going and saying that okay, I'm a Moorish Master Mason, right? Because if and you can try me if you want. You can try me if you want. I'm very brilliant in this shit because Baba told me what to go study, and so that's how I was able to bump this nigga, right? So I was able to bump this nigga because the question he asked me several questions, but the last question he asked me before he gave me his bag of regalia and shit is what he asked me. He said, "What makes you a Mason?" Right? And I answered, and
No, what was the answer?
I gave you my obligation. That's what
Exactly.
they say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I want to deal with that real
Go
quick.
Go ahead, Bill.
Because that's the question that a lot of people don't have that conversation further. What makes you a Mason? My OB. You know what I mean? Or what you say, obligation. Okay, my OB. But why? What is your obligation? Simple. What is your obligation?
Hey, charity. They going to say charity.
Hey, stop it right there.
Yeah.
Charity. All right, boom. You judge a man based off his what?
His
works. His servitude. Okay, we became Masons to take ourselves out of the state of being a good man, all right, doing good works, okay, to being an even better man. You understand? To do better works, okay? You're not actually done with your good man process, okay, until you can look back and see the better man in it reflected in all of your works, okay? It's all a process, and it doesn't stop. And interestingly enough, you said they only got 2 degrees, right? It doesn't stop after you learn, like your fellow brothers had to learn, how to use the craft, okay? That's why if I ask you, okay, it was just a conversation, say, yo, will you be offered from? Or are you offered from was what they really say, but really the story went, will you be, all right, offered from, okay, when it referred to the misnomer Harry, okay, who wasn't cautious as Jim was, that was on that train and wanted to know why certain brothers have free passage and the ability to travel freely, and he wasn't able to travel freely. And he thought that he could finesse his way in. No, you have to do the works. You understand? So nobody should ever really say, truthfully, that they're off, unless you were saying that you were waiting further instructions. If you're awaiting further instructions, yeah, then that means that you haven't become a Master Mason yet. Okay, so not only can you not give anybody instructions as a speculative, you're still a speculative, right? You haven't really learned the true science of an operative, okay? You also don't have whatever you would need to move further yourself. So you can't give instruction and you can't move any further. Okay, that's why I tell people go watch that Matrix movie scene with Neo when he had to get off that train in limbo. And they didn't call it limbo, they call it mobile. M-O-B-I-L, mobile. But all you gotta do is flip that those letters around and you'll get limbo. And notice it was on a train, okay? He was taking on the form of Harry, all right? Because they dropped Harry off in limbo. Harry is still stuck in limbo to this day. That's the legend. You know what I mean? Because Harry didn't know that if he would have just been cautious, all right, and continued to learn about the works, he wouldn't have misspoke or misspoken, okay, and he would have also been able to show his works to be able to travel freely also. So how can Harry be saved? First of all, Harry has to acknowledge that now he's in another world. What happened? What am I really telling you? I'm answering something that you're speaking about too. Because, yeah, you could be a Moorish Mason. You could be a Mason. You could be an internet Mason. You could be a clandy Mason or a clandestine Mason. You could be a book Mason. You could be an experienced Mason. All right. One of the brothers, I broke all this down. He said, no, it's only one type of Mason. No. Okay. Or you wouldn't have all these different names for people who taking the travels. People found different ways, okay, to get access to the light. All right. The one who was cautious knew to the extent of how much they could eavesdrop, all right, before the friends realized you're not a friend. Okay. But the one who wasn't cautious didn't know that. So even if you were trying to sneak away with certain sacreds, all right, if they were not able to recognize and see you in that light, okay, and you didn't know which passwords open up which doors, then you wouldn't get into certain buildings or go certain pathways. You wouldn't be allowed to. So here go the key thing. What's beyond all of that? Let's say a young elder is a Moorish Mason, okay? Phase one is a very high degree Scottish Rite Mason, okay? Both of us are standing in a park, all right? A lady screams and says, help, okay? Something done fell on her, and we have to lift it up off of her. and we run to go lift it up off of her. You grab one side, I grab the other side. Okay? We lift it up, meaning scientifically we just did work. All right? Now, we take this in care. That's not the work. Okay? The only work is when you're coming from something, all right, to transmute to a higher level. That's literally the jewels. When I say jewels, I'm not just saying Jewels. I'm saying Joules when it comes to physics and doing work. Are you with me? The only way you're going to acquire jewels is if you're lifting or ascending. But here's what niggas did. They learned a password. They learned Boaz. They learned Jacquin. You know what I mean? They walked through the first two. They entered the princes. They never went any further. Say EA. Listen, EA Sports. It's in the game. All right? So niggas been playing EA Sports because that's the first level that they accessed. You know what I mean? And they thought that that's all they needed. They said, no, I went up the winding stairs. I learned how to fly. I became a fellow craft. Yeah, okay, but what was the works about? The works actually about? You know what I mean? Why do we give you Boaz and Jachin as your strength and your foundation? Okay, but niggas walking around with strength and the foundation, and we ask them about that capstone, and they cannot answer those questions about the capstone, because the capstone represents energy, okay, being charged up to such a high degree. I'm about to show you something, y'all elder. To such a high degree, and you probably are familiar with it, all right, that the capstone glows, okay? You have the psi-org energy that was expressed in it, all right? Let's use a light bulb, okay? Do we not have a spine in our body?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. We have a central nervous system, correct?
Right.
We have a peripheral nervous system, correct?
Right.
Okay? Our whole nervous system, and you can look up what I'm telling you. This is neuroscience. Neuro, meaning it's newer or old. You just have to figure out which one you're attaching yourself to. The newer or the old science. You will learn Tahuti was speaking about ether. Okay, way before Nikola Tesla or Einstein. Okay, you learned that the ancient Egyptians knew about electricity. Okay, and conductivity, photoconductivity.
That's right.
All right, real sciences. They got to get up with me. All right, when that filament is charged up, you glow. You have what's referred to as a corona. Okay, it's the same thing with a light bulb as it is with your spine. All right, and the more charged you become, that's why I remind people the nervous system is electrically charged. You know what I mean? You go study that. Why do we have electricity popping off in our brain? Every time there's a neurotransmitter, every time there's a new synapses, there's an electric yield. Okay, go study action potential to the negative and positive. Everybody talk about duality. Explain it scientifically how we come here with that in our body. Okay, and keep your eye on the ions. And you'll start realizing, okay, cool. Even when you say ion in the ancient Kemetic language, you were saying an eye.
Right.
Okay? And what do you say? His eye is on the sparrow. And I broke that down for people. I said, what does that mean? When you say sparrow, you're saying spiral. Watch this. You're saying spiral. And what spirals? The golden ratio, 1.618, of the Fibonacci sequence. I'm showing you something. Fibonacci sequence, meaning not Fibonacci events. A Fibonacci sequence is going to pop, 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 pop. And when you turn on a light bulb, that light doesn't just turn on. There's a sequence of events that leads to that light bulb being fully charged. Okay? But why is it referred to as the golden ratio? Remember, back in ancient Kemet, that which was referred to as solar Aten or Aten alone was the sun or the golden disk. Okay? And what Pharaoh Akhenaten, meaning Pharaoh, the Ankh, okay, Pharaoh, the Ankh, and Aten, okay, meaning the eternal life, which was also the Ankh, a symbol itself, which was a frequency symbol or a tuning fork, all right, or a levitation device, all right, and Aten, meaning the sun. All of it is speaking about ascension. Now watch this. As you achieve these higher degrees, listen to it, right? What was Dr. Malachi York explaining? He was telling people to take on certain walks, and they said, Pop, I want to go back to school. And he said, when he was saying that, he's saying he wants to go back to hell, right?
Right.
Because school was show in hell, right? Hell, when people think of hell, what's the element they think of?
Fire.
Is fire cold or hot?
Hot.
All right? Now, if you lose your nervous system, if your nervous system is shot, which is what happens when people receive a third-degree burn, I hope you're listening.
Yeah.
If you lose your mind, like these motherfuckers in here, some of these people that lost their damn mind. Like them motherfuckers outside that have lost their damn mind. Like I did a whole teaching yesterday. I see motherfuckers that lost their mind.
Right.
All right. How are you going to receive information or affirmation and you don't know the negative and positive that's happening in your left and right hemisphere of your brain.
Right.
Okay, you don't know the duality that you speak of, or the as above, so below that you speak of. Okay, so watch this. Because there were two lights. Remember, one light was called Halal, all right? That some have only called the moon because Hilal meant crescent. Okay, but another word for that first star or that first light was Lucifer, which was a star, which was a light of the night. Okay, here's the mystery. If the sun is the light of the day and the star is the light of the night, what's the difference between a star and a sun? The answer is its position in relationship to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. That's fine.
Listen, the sun. Can you get a third-degree burn from a star that is not your sun?
No.
You understand? However, there were people who were getting third-degree burns when they would walk out into that 130 degrees or 144 degree sun in ancient Kemet.
Right.
All right. To the point where they had to find out ointments and potions to try to protect themselves from that sun. All right. So they had the first and second degree. That was why they were in the caves. You understand? But you have to remind people that, you with me? That when people talk about cavemen, ask them this. What cavemen or Neanderthals, supposed to be these cavemen, were you talking about in Egypt? Find them. What caves? What are you talking about? No, you talking about the ones who had to wait in the, you talking about the ones who had to wait in the temples because they couldn't stand out there in the sun and they couldn't be guided by that sun in all actuality, because if they would have traveled by day, they would not have survived. You talking about them? Okay, well then those were those Caucasoids at that time, all right, who even when they invaded, don't let them make no mistake about it, they invaded by night.
Right.
Okay, because it was not smart for them, survival-wise, to invade in those time periods where, again, record high temperatures. Okay, can you still hear me? And come at you with me? And they will receive third-degree burn. So what am I telling you? You had it at the first and second degree. Okay, well, you finally figuring out what the Enter the Princess is. You learned about the cornerstone. Yeah, you can learn everything about what's happening inside the temple. So they were confused. They said, finally, we learned the esoteric, right? The esoteric. They not hearing the Eric there. Eric means ruler. Are you with me? We learned the esoteric. All right, the exoteric is a falsehood. We finally got inside. Okay, but they were finessed because we only gave them secrets. We didn't give them the sacreds. Are you with me? So what's the difference? Exactly. There's a double-edged sword, and the S word is that sword. All right. So hold up that fez you just had. Hold up that crown. Y'all see that sword? You with me? Let me tell you something. There's a sword on top, correct? Boom.
Right.
If you look at it, that sword is actually bending upward. Okay.
Right.
There's a pharaoh, a living authority in the center. There's a five-pointed star at the bottom, and there's a crescent moon, all right, pointed downward in the center. Okay. Now, here's what you would find if you were even looking at it from an Islamic standpoint, that star was on the side of the moon that was facing nearest you. Are you with me? Now, you know that you don't have a star that's in front of the moon.
Right.
Do you?
Nope.
No, there's no star in front of the moon. So let me show you the symbol. Okay. Do me a favor real quick, young elder. Flip that crown. Flip the crown upside down. Does that look familiar?
Yeah.
All right. That's a bird, for one. And that bird appears on your dollar bill as the eagle. Okay? And it represented the school of the bird. Okay? The school of the bird came in many different forms. Falcon. Okay? Horus. Okay? They talk about the school of the eagle in the book of Revelation. All right? Then you have a rock eagle mound that was visible from space or visible from traveling over. The school of the. All right? Now watch this. If you look at what you see, it's upside down now, right? You see that at the bottom of it, it looks like the talons grabbing hold of something. Okay? That was the olive branches. All of this on the dollar bill. I wish I had a dollar bill.
I wish I had one too.
I'll show y'all what I'm telling you. So what did Pop say? He was talking about politics. He said it's two wings of the same bird. People don't understand what he's saying. Those wings, that's the crescent moon, as some people call it. But if you pay attention to the crescent and the sword, that's the same thing. All right? Because, again, there were two lights. So let's go back to it. Hilal, all right, which is halal. And the word hilal means crescent, okay, which is a sword, all right, or a double-edged sword, meaning there's one light, which is the amber light, and there's another light, which is the emerald light. Okay, so they traveled by night. They didn't travel by day because they would get burned if they traveled by day. You understand? But there were some brothers who crossed the burning sands, you know what I mean, in the daytime. All right, and if you know anything about the sand, by the way, it still is going to hold that frequency. That's why you can sneak the sacreds in, because even after the sun goes down or appears to go down, because that's another illusion, the sun doesn't actually set.
That's right.
You understand? It only appears to set. When that sun goes down, does not the sand stay hot?
Right.
Exactly. So they traveled, they still crossed them burning sands, but not by day. They traveled by the moonlight or the other Hilal light, which is referred to as the heavenly stars in the vault or rakia called the firmament. Now watch this, okay? Once you got that third degree, if you were a part of the other school of the bird or respected the other school of the bird, which showed you about that main supreme being that they kept talking about when you became a Mason, when we started traveling, what they say, you have to admit that there's, or confess or profess that there's a supreme being.
Yeah, right. Okay? Some, but would it be Allah or Jesus, whoever? Or
it was
you gotta
Allah,
have some,
God.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people mistakenly said Buddha. All right. Even though Buddha was never supposed to be a god, he didn't call himself a god. And the Hindus and Buddhists know. The Hindus and the Buddhists know that that's not a god. That's an extraordinary man, is what they call him, or an example of who we become or what we can become. So again, let's go back to Aferti, all right, or Pharaoh. The word Pharaoh was saying what you can become. Now let's look at the word Pharaoh. Pharaoh, all right, Pharaoh. The word Pharaoh in Latin was saying carry something. Are you with me? We're still talking about the work. Notice, okay, what are the works? All right. So the word Pharaoh was to carry something. But as you carrying something across the burning sands, all right, that ain't the work alone. The work was lifting up whatever that stone or that brick or that gem was. Okay. Now you have to get to what's referred to as an elevated plane. Climb up Yakub's ladder or Jacob's ladder, which means, what is the ladder? The genes. Go look at the double helix. That's the ladder. You know what I mean? And it shows up on your dollar bill.
Right.
Okay. As deceptive 13 levels. Okay. 13 olive branches, 13 colonies. The 13 is the bee. We've gone over that before. I broken that down to people. When you put the 1 and the 3 together, you get the bee, which takes you to the beehive. All right. The bees that were a part of that beehive, which is what this reality is, or this society is, especially, okay, were not born into sin. Any Mason know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'm teaching you something.
I hear exactly what you're saying now.
You with me? Bees were not born into sin because we were born to get what? Busy, buzzy. All right. So even when you say busyness, you're saying bee's nest. And what is the bee's nest? A hive. And a hive is a group of workers. And in magic, you call them a group of witches. All right. Or a whole bunch of thousands of witches, not just the coven. Are you with me? And all of those people who were part of the hive knew how to get to the works because they respected another order of the bird that was elusive to man. The same way Allah's knowledge, all right, we say Allah knoweth. Only Allah knows certain things. Allah, Allah, A-L-L-A-H, arm, leg, arm, head, or that actual 5-pointed star that they use, okay, in the Islamic symbol, okay, which was in the Eastern stars, you'll see them have it. Okay, which are our sisters. Okay, the science of the Eastern stars, even if a man grasps that science, it will still be elusive to us. Because naturally, if I was supposed to understand what it meant to be the supreme being, which is the woman, I would have come here in this reality as a woman. Are you with me? Again, so who is the school of the bird that goes beyond the school of the eagle, all right, and the school of the falcon? It brings you around to the sister, the orders of the sisters, Isis, Isis, or Osset, all right, or Ma'at. What's my point? What does Ma'at mean?
Like truth and justice.
Yep. Another word.
Like,
give me another word. Truth, justice. What else?
Order.
What else? We got truth. We got justice. Order. I'm looking for something specific.
Okay. Let me think. Truth, justice, order, law.
Law. Hey, blessed are those who are persecuted after what?
Righteous namesake.
Okay, righteous namesake or righteousness sake.
Yep.
All right, my eye also means righteousness or righteous. Are you with me?
That's right.
So when we said Malachi Zadok or Malachi Sadek, All right? It's saying a messenger of righteousness or justice was another way that Sadek was translated. Are you with me? So Ma'at appears with two scales. Well, it's really one scale with two sides. All right? And it's the heart that's supposed to be placed on it and a feather that's supposed to be placed on it. And if your heart, listen, if the center, the axis point of you was not lighter than the, listen to the word, lighter. Okay, because light is a double-edged sword within itself. Light can mean something that can blind a person. Light can mean something that can help a person. See, all right, something that is charged to yield a reflection that meets into our eyes. Okay, or our iris, you know what I'm saying, and our retina to register as a visual. Okay, and then you have light as in the opposite of heavy. Okay, able to ascend. All right. So if your heart was lighter than, not equal to the weight of, lighter than a feather, then you would ascend. But if you could not ascend, you would fall into the nether realms called duat. Duat. You with me? So Ma'at gave you the light of righteousness, which was a charge. When that sun comes out, photosynthesis takes place. All right, in plants. Okay? Photosynthesis takes place in human beings too. And something that's referred to as the easy science, all right, or the exclusion zone science, where every time that light or the rays from the sun interacts with human beings, we're charged up, literally, okay? But it responds differently. We respond differently. So melanin recessive people, if they stand into and stand in the hot sun for too long, the ultraviolet rays of the sun will actually cause skin cancer, all right, or damage. They're more prone to it, all right? And they will start peeling and reddening. You understand? They can't stay in certain ones. Most people who are melanin recessive can't stay in the sun too long. I'm telling you something. So what are the degrees are we speaking about? 3rd degree burns is what he was teaching. That's what it was about. All right, you got the 1st and 2nd degree. What's the worst burn on the planet? The 3rd degree. That's the worst type of burn for these people when you come in contact with light or fire. Okay, Nor or Nawar. So there was something that was referred to, I'll leave you with this, as the sun of righteousness. All right, the sun of righteousness, meaning the light of Ma'at. Okay, and that true light burns people who were not supposed to access it. You understand? It'll burn you. Now, a lot of people stop at whether or not we were talking about Caucasoids or Negroids. Okay, it goes way deeper. If you cannot access this light that's around me or this light that's behind your elder, if you're not able to activate the true light in the heart, what's the key word? Heart. In the weighing of the heart ceremony, weighing of the what? Heart. You know what I mean? And when we took Rasulullah Muhammad and opened up his chest, we took out his what? Heart. You know what I mean? They judging people based off, you see the images of Jesus or Isa pointing toward the what? Heart. They're telling you the true color. And that's the green color when you look at the lineup from the root chakra all the way up to the crown chakra. All right? Or from the reproductive organs all the way up to the brain. All right? That central or access point has always been green. Okay? So here's the key. If you were not able to access and charge that green light when we're dealing with temperature, when it comes to actual fire and flames, all right? If you were not able to access the 2,700 degree, all right, that people don't know about, okay, which actually turns your flame white, okay? It goes from red, orange, yellow to white. Green is elusive. Green doesn't appear when you burn in this flame unless you're using something like copper and burning that, okay? That light is elusive. It goes red, orange, yellow, white, and then to the blue and the purple. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's it. That's blue and the purple. You understand? So if people were able to access that green light, they won't get burned by the degrees. So what do? You stand on truth at that point. What do we mean when we say stand on truth? What is the true light? The light of every man that cometh into this world. Even if it was dark and you couldn't understand or obtain, they said comprehend it. All right, it's still here. If you close your eyes in a dark room, all right, squeeze your eyes shut for about 5 to 9 seconds in a dark room, all right, and then open them, you're going to see green light moving around like this in the darkness. Green light, go check it out. All right, green light doing this. And sometimes rajum, okay, or the purple light accompanies it. Okay, so the green light literally Go test out what I'm telling you. Niggas ain't access these degrees. That's why they think it's some fake science. Go look at what I'm telling you. Why do you see green light in the dark? Go look at the green light.
Right.
You understand? And you'll know, okay, that's what we meant. So when you stand on truth, what we mean is that you rose up and now your feet are on that new earth, which is that renewed heart. Look at the word E-A-R-T-H and flip it around in an anagram and you'll get heart. Your renewed heart, all right, like we had to do for the praise one called Ahmed or Muhammad, all right? We had to take his heart out, take out the red or shaitan or sex portion, all right, the dark portion, and put it back in his heart cleansed. So what are these degrees about? No matter who or what you are, if you have not access to true light, you can't do the true works. If I give you the wrong formula, then you'll have the wrong form. And what do we say? If you cannot solve this world's problems, all right, if you're not a part of the solution, all of this is about alchemy. A solution is dealing with a scientific term, saying things have been mixed in, all right, to create a problem-solving effect or yield. If you're not a part of the solution, what are you a part of? The problem. So if you're not walking in the emerald light or above, how are you going to do Master Mason works? How are you going to become Eminem? Notice the best rapper that untouched they scene, all right, is Eminem. Exactly. Hey, young elder, explain to them what you just did. I mean, you hold your hands up, and I know that Eminem is there, but explain to them what you just did.
And in the middle of your palms, if you hold both of them up, it's an MM, Master Mason.
Yep.
You see both of the ends.
Exactly. So in the Rosicrucian order, we called it.
And anybody one of the, it's actually one of the, I can't, it's like a disgrace call, something like that. I don't want to get into that too much. Yeah, it's a disgrace. You're in disgrace is something you can do, but you hold that up. My granddaddy, he used to do it all the time. Like I was always inquiring shit. Like I used to see him. He stopped the train one time by putting his shoes on the track, and that's what made me want to go and really study this shit. Cause I was like, how the fuck he stopped that train like this, you know? And he said, I just put my shoes the same way. He never did go into it, but I just remember looking at the shoes sitting there. Like they now that I noticed it was that he had put them in the square position, right? And then he on his front porch, he used to have a pair of shoes sit on the front porch, like, you know, in the square position all the time. And I was like, man, why he always got them shoes sitting right there like this? But then when I got older and started, I knew my granddad was a Mason. I just saw all the shit. I saw him. My dad was in a drug raid. Where they had this big ass drug bus, like the FBI. Everybody was down there. ATL. It was like in a big ass drug bus. My dad just was down there fucking around, right? And they called my granddad, and my granddad was able to go down there and get him. One time they did a raid, and my granddad said, if you ever did some shit like that, just do this. You know, I don't know if you can see me. You probably can see this right here. See that right there? So if you ever win a raid, throw that right there. They're going to slide you to the side. But if they ask you what the fuck that is and you can't tell them, you might then, you know, some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's why we were taught, the first thing you were taught is caution. If you don't know, when in doubt, do nothing is Masonic. If you don't know, be quiet. You know what I mean? Because you can't take them words back. When you have it, they gonna look and say, this nigga don't know what he's talking about. He trying to act like one of us. Pop made a joke about that. He said niggas be standing in court. They be trying to do little signs and shit. They try to get less time, and they do like this, right? And the judge he said the judge think you trying to give him a hint. He said, 3 more years? Yeah, give him 3 more years. You know what I mean? It's less of it's like it's one of those things where you can show better, you know what I mean, than you could tell. Okay? And when we were doing the mathematics, okay, or the supreme mathematics, all right? Anyone who remember math class, which should be every damn body, there were problems where you couldn't just cheat off somebody's paper because you had to show your what?
Work.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So a lot of people thinking that, like, what did my dad say to you? He said, what's trigonometry? Right? And a lot of people will answer and just say the mathematics of it, okay, if they knew that. Okay? You got trigonometric, parallax, how they can measure the sun's distance and all these other heavenly bodies. Okay, trigonometry. He said what the higher science was trigonometry. Trigger. What triggers you? Do you know? Do you know what triggers you? Because if you don't,
Right.
guess what happens? You fall. You fall.
Right.
Like Iblis did. You fall.
That's fine.
Because if you don't know that you're going to see something and it triggers you and it causes you to fall, then you're going to continue to bump your head. You're going to continue to fall. Are you with me? So even when it came down to the Master Mason science, all right, like I told people, say M-A-M, ma'am, all right, or M-and-M, okay, ma'am, mama, mom, all right, Eminem, all right, who become, like I was about to say, the big rapper. He the big rapper. Nobody couldn't fuck with him. Nobody couldn't surpass him. Pay attention to what I'm telling you. How did it happen that way? That this nigga name is literally M.M. as Marshall Mathers, but he calls himself M as an eminent, and he became the eminent one. All right?
Right.
And all we're saying is if you're truly an Eminem, if you're truly an eminent one, if you're truly a glowing being that knows how to do the works of the adept, meaning you don't just look at the world, you can add depth to the world, right?
Right.
If you can do that, well then, listen, you got an issue with the Eminem or the eminent ones, out-rap us.
Right.
Out-rap us. And what is a rap? When we say rap, back in the day, even though I wasn't there, rap back in the day, you say you want to rap at a sister, what was you saying?
I want to talk to her, holler.
Exactly. And if I rap on your door, does that mean I put a microphone there and start saying lyrics? Or am I what?
You're knocking.
I'm knocking. I'm knocking. And I'll leave you with this. Only certain people were able to understand what the three knocks, excuse me, the Enoch was, okay? Or the Idris was. Because you could not walk with God, all right? Without first being able to be studious or study Idris, all right? And even with Adafa, when we gave our servant Adafa secrets, all right? Adafa, when you say the word Adafa, you're saying edify. We had to edify Adafa, and he had to go through many tests like we had to in school, okay? So our thing is, I'm not concerned of whether or not somebody is a constitutional Mason, all right? Or whether somebody is logged in at the lodge, or whether somebody done learned some shit from the books. I don't care about any of that. I don't. Now, I went through it the right way. They still don't want to acknowledge it. I don't give a fuck. I'm saying, look at somebody's works. Are you doing the works of a Mason? Do you care about your community? Are you serving your community? Are you every day rising up to become a better man? All right?
Every day.
If you are, well, guess what? Then you understand faith, Fatiha, faith. The faith is Fatiha. That's the first key we gave you. Walk by faith and not by sight. People think that means walk blindly. It didn't. Faith is Fatiha. Go look at what Fatiha means. It's dealing with an opener. That's why that's the first level. All right? Yeah, you deal with faith. Fatiha. Now I gave you a key. Fatiha also means key, by the way. All right? Fatiha also gave you to another word, P-T-A-H, Pataha, Pata, which is Ateo, all right, which is Tahuti, which also means the opener. Ta means the opener. So we gave you the opener. We gave you the key. And we gave you the charity. All right? Charity. Now you're understanding the works. All right? Faith, actually it was faith and charity. Because you were given the faith to open the eyes. You were full of the spirit of hope. All right? Then you can do the work. Same thing with the Rosicrucian. Head, heart, hara. Which if you would have built that temple up in 3 days, meaning 3 levels, like Jesus said, he said, you can try to tear my temple down. I'll build it up in 3 days, 3 levels. Okay? Then you know about the hara, which is the gut. All right? Then the heart, which is the center. Okay? And then you know about the head. All right? And can we do anything without being conscious?
Right.
We can't. And if somebody walking around sleepwalking, which is what a lot of people are doing, guess what? There are parts of the brain that are still active when somebody's sleepwalking, but the one part that isn't active is called the boss lobe or the frontal lobe, the prefrontal cortex, the decision maker. Okay, so it's a lot of people sleepwalking. They swear they walking, they going, but they don't know what they're doing. And all we're trying to say is, wake up. That's what Buddha meant. It meant awake. Wake up or awaken. All right. And after you've reached the Master Mason level, please don't hesitate, listen, to come back down that ladder and grab other brothers with that lion grip out of the muck in the mire. You did not become a Master Mason to safeguard or bogard, all right, without passing on these sacreds, especially in the day of revelation. So this is a time of the righteousness.
Yep, that's right. That's facts. And that's what part of the storyline is in the lessons of that. Because people just think it's just a ritual. Like even if you go through the Harold Big story, it's really something involved with it. Ain't just a storyline because that they needed a master with a strong grip to go get him up. You know what I'm saying? Because they couldn't lift him up with the grips that they had. So they needed a master that had that lion's paw, that strong grip. And that shit go all the way back to the Sphinx. If you want to get down to it, like go back
I
to
just say, let's
Tahuti.
do it, because who is the
Yeah,
lion? You want to know who the
go ahead.
lion is?
Go ahead.
The lion,
Go
listen, the lion is called Tefnut.
Go
Tefnut,
ahead.
all right, which is the actual deity or goddess, they call it, I say God, the actual God of the primordial waters. What is primordial? When you say the word prime order L, primordial, you're saying the prime order of L. Okay? You had Tefnut, you had Shu, and you had Atumre. You understand? Or Ra. Okay, which would be the Trinity. The chaos waters of chaos, the primordial waters. The word chaos is saying K-use or Ka-us. All right? Meaning Ka-use. Use your Ka. Use your spirit. All right? And if you're not using your spirit, what are you going to cause? And if you don't have a cause or a righteous cause, what are you going to affect? Are you with me? So Tefnut is that lion, and the order of the Sphinx is under Tefnut, the feline order, the one that everybody want to forget about. All right? And everybody who became a rosing Christian or a rose Crucian, all right, or rose up off that cross, if you're going to tell me that you didn't have to go through the paws of the Sphinx to access that ninth chamber, okay, when you had your class master instructing you on what to do, what to say, and reminding you of your lessons, and reminding you, remember, you're a torchbearer. Okay, what do we mean by a torchbearer? Listen, 5 were wise, 5 were foolish. Okay, you had 5 people walking. They thought they had all the oil they needed. They thought they had everything. And now they lit it up, and they walking with their fire. They grateful for all the information they just received, and now they put themselves above everybody else. Okay, but they didn't carry enough oil. All right, oil gave you the word sesam. I'm showing you something. Sesam. All right, or sesamun. And sesamun, when you say sesam, that's Moses backwards. Okay, and when you say the word oil and flip the letters around, you get Elo. All right, I broke this down in my book, Rehab. Okay, Moses had a specific staff or torch. All right, he bore that torch, or he carried that cross. How do you know you're saying torchbearer carried the cross? Because the cross was called the staros. All right, and staros is a pole, not a cross as in a mystic tall or a T. It's a pole, and when you look at a torch, it's a pole. You understand? And the word bearer is right there as bearer. So anybody who's a torch bearer, in all actuality, they are a Lucifer. All right? And all we're asking you is, which lux are you pharaohing? All right? Which light are you carrying? Are you wise or foolish? It'll be foolish to think that Moses had all the science when we gave you El Qadir, the green light, and said, look, you got to cross past the Red Sea, go beyond the Mediterranean Sea. What is Mediterranean? Meaning in the middle where the terrain is, or the heart is. Earth. Erta, Eretz, Arda. All right, which means to be free, by the way, Ard. Okay? Ard also means always, meaning in every direction. All right, and the only way you can have the universe existing in.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think it's time for me to go ahead though. But yeah.
Yeah, look, I think we got enough right here. I'm actually probably repost this on YouTube as show your work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like make sense of your work. But I'm gonna actually put music and pictures to what you're saying when I do it this time.
I'm rocking with.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make it like a style video. Yeah, I'm gonna make it like some video. As you talking, it's gonna be all showing what you're saying in the pictures and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's how I'm doing right now. So I'm gonna work on that now. And then tomorrow, me and your dad got to do some campaigning tomorrow. But we're gonna be on it though. I'm gonna get out too because I gotta go in here get something to eat and shit. And I'll be back on because I don't want to eat too late, man. What time is it now? Yeah, it's already really too late, but I'm gonna get something light though.
Right.
Y'all like, look, love and light, y'all.
Hey, love and light.
We gonna be back. Peace.
Peace.